Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. The mirror waits in a quiet room inside your head. It does not hang on a wall, it does not show your face or your hair or the glow of the sky behind you. This mirror is made of feelings and patterns and tiny sparks. When you look into it, you do not see light. You see a soft sense of being you. It is the most familiar thing, and yet it is the most puzzling. It is simple like a whisper. It is deep like a night ocean. We call it consciousness. Imagine you are lying down, eyes closed, and a breeze touches your cheek. You do not see the wind, you do not taste it. Still, you know it is there because the skin on your face says hello to your mind. In that tiny hello, there is a world. The touch becomes a feeling. The feeling becomes a moment. The moment becomes a note in a long song you carry inside. Consciousness is this song that does not stop. Instruments change, even when the room grows quiet, even when you fall asleep and dream other rooms into being. Inside your skull, billions of small cells rest like a forest at dusk. These cells are neurons. They talk using small snaps of electricity and gentle puffs of chemicals. A single snap is small, but a crowd of snaps at just the right time can build a thought, a picture, or a memory. The neurons do not know your name. They do not hold a tiny you inside them. Yet the pattern of their talk becomes your voice and your story. Some scientists say that when many parts of this forest talk together, and also listen together, a light of awareness rises, soft and pale, like mist lifting from trees. Think of the brain as a city at night. Some streets are busy with moving cars, some neighborhoods are quiet. There are bridges that carry traffic from one side to the other. If one bridge is closed, the city still lives, but the pattern of moving lights changes. In a brain, these bridges are bundles of long white wires. They carry signals far and fast. When distant neighborhoods light up in rhythm, something special happens. The city becomes one. The city knows itself. This togetherness, this wide and gentle joining, feels like the mirror inside the mind turning toward itself. Now, imagine a lighthouse sweeping across a dark sea. Each sweep shows one piece of the water at a time, a wave, a gull, a drifting boat. Some scientists think attention is a bit like this sweeping light. The brain always holds many small sounds and sights and feelings at once, but what we call now is the part that the lighthouse touches. The light does not make the sea, but it lets you see a part of it clearly. This might be why a small sound, like a clock tick, suddenly feels loud when you listen for it, and then fades again when you drift away. There is a place deep in the brain that works like a careful gate. It is called the thalamus. Almost every whisper from the eyes, ears, skin and tongue passes through this gate on its way to the higher hills of thought. The thalamus is like a kind teacher who says, "Wait your turn," and "Now speak clearly." When the gate and the hills above it sing together in time, slow waves like a tide, faster waves like a hum, and very fast waves like a shimmer, the world grows bright inside your head. You can almost feel the rhythm, like a quiet drum in your chest, steady and soft. Some researchers talk about a global workspace, a gentle stage inside the brain. Many small workers bring bits of information, colours, edges, sounds and feelings to the edge of this stage. When the curtain lifts for one piece, all the workers can see it and use it. A colour can mix with a memory. A sound can mix with a plan. A feeling can mix with a word. The stage is not a real place you can touch, but the idea helps us picture how separate parts work together. This together may be part of why the mirror inside the mind feels whole, even though it is made from many tiny flickers. Other scientists wonder about integration, a word that means becoming one. They ask, how much does the brain bind many small differences into one simple experience? When you see a red apple, you do not first see colour, then shape, then the idea of fruit, and then the wish to take a bite. You feel the apple in one breath. The more the brain ties parts together while keeping them distinct, the more, they say, a spark-like consciousness might rise. It is like weaving many threads into one cloth. The cloth is smooth under your hand, but if you look close, you see each thread still has a path. Let's drift deeper. Picture a calm pond at dawn. You toss a single pebble. Rings spread, meet the shore and fold back. Toss another pebble, and the rings meet, ripple and dance. In the brain, waves of activity do something like that. They meet, ripple and dance in time. Some are slow and wide like the waves of sleep. Some are fast and thin like the quick blink of a thought. When the waves meet just right, you might feel a new idea rise, or a memory return, or a sudden peace settle in your chest. The pond is the brain. The pattern on the water is your moment-to-moment self. We can ask a simple question. Where exactly is the I that says I am here? Is it behind your eyes? Is it in your chest when your heart beats like a small drum? Is it in your hands when they hold warm tea? If you search, the I slips away. You find eyes that see, a heart that beats, hands that hold, but no single pearl of self to pick up and keep. And yet you feel like a whole person, not a box of parts. This is one of the quiet wonders. The mirror shows a single face, but the silver on its back is made from many tiny drops. Now imagine the mind as a gentle storyteller who is also a careful guesser. The world sends hints: light, sound, warmth, pressure. The storyteller guesses what these hints mean before all the facts arrive, the way a person might finish a soft tune before the last note plays. Most of the time these guesses are right. You see a shape and know it is a cup. You feel a touch and know it is the wind. But sometimes the mind guesses poorly, and we see illusions. A line looks longer than it is. A sound seems to come from the wrong corner of the room. These small mistakes show that the mind builds the world gently from the inside out, not just from the outside in. There are people who can walk across a room even though they say they cannot see. This is called blind sight. Their eyes still send signals, and their bodies still guide their steps, but the mirror of experience is dim for sight. It is as if the city's traffic moves, yet the windows stay dark. There are others who can feel a rubber hand as if it were their own when a hidden trick brings touch and sight together. This shows that the self, the body, and the bright feeling of ownership are also stories the brain writes, moment by moment, in soft pencil, with an eraser close by. Close your eyes again and listen for your breath. In, out, in, out. Your breath is a tide that carries your attention. Some scientists wonder if this slow, safe rhythm helps hold the parts of your mind together, the way a drum keeps dancers in time. When you breathe out for longer, your heart can slow a little. Your body feels more quiet. The gate in the center of your brain listens to slower waves. The stage lights dim a little, A soft peace can arrive, and this too is a form of consciousness. Not the bright "look at me," but the warm "rest with me." Think about memory. A memory is not a dusty box on a shelf. It is more like a path that grass tries to cover each day. When you walk the path again, the grass bends and remembers the shape of your steps. In your brain, paths are made by connections between neurons. When you recall your grandmother's kitchen, the pattern of smell, light, warmth, and love lights up again, not in one spot but across many places. Memory makes the mirror wider. It lets the present hold hand with the past. It paints your now with colours your body learned long ago, and what of time? Consciousness seems to live in a short window that slides forward, like a lantern carried down a hallway. You feel this window as now, a few heartbeats wide, but your mind can stretch the window. When you wait for a sound, the window grows longer and softer, ready to catch it. When you focus on a task, the window narrows and sharpens like a needle. This may be why the same minute can feel short or long, warm or cold, gentle or sharp. The brain does not hold time as a clock does. It holds time as a garden does, with slow growth in some corners and quick blossoms in others. Now imagine standing by a tree. The tree drinks light. Leaves turn sunlight into sugar. Sugars travel, build, and repair. The tree does not speak, but it senses. It senses light, water, soil, and touch. The tree bends toward the sun and thickens its bark in cold. Is this a tiny form of awareness? Some scientists say that sensing and reacting are not enough. They say consciousness needs a self that watches itself. Others say that a modest, quiet kind of awareness might be found in many living things, not just in us. The mirror inside the mind may come in different sizes and shapes. We do not know. It is a question held gently like a small bird in open hands. The night sky offers another mirror. When you look up and see the long river of stars, you feel small and wide at the same time. This feeling is not in the stars, it is in you. Photons travel for ages, kiss your eyes, and stop. Your brain wakes and says, "Ah." Between the long travel of light and your soft whisper, a tiny universe opens, as private and fragile as a bubble. That bubble is a moment of consciousness. That it exists at all is strange. That it feels like you is stranger still. Let's drift to the way feelings colour the world. A sound is not only loud or soft, it can be friendly or sharp, warm or lonely. A smell is not only sweet or sour, it can be safe or dangerous, close or far. These colours are made by the body. Hormones move like weather. The heart, the gut and the skin send slow messages to the brain. The brain listens and paints the world. When you are tired, stairs look steeper. When you are loved, the same stairs look like a path to a dance. Feelings are not noise. They are part of the message. They help the mirror tell the story of a life. Some people ask, could a machine be conscious? A machine can learn patterns. It can answer questions and look at pictures and speak in a smooth voice. But does it have a mirror inside? Does it feel the warmth of tea, not as data but as comfort? Does it hold the sense of I am? Some say yes, if the patterns woven in the machine become rich enough and tied together in the right way. Others say no, that something in living cells, in breath and heartbeat, in messy bodies and long childhoods, is needed for the mirror to form. The question remains open like a window at dawn. The air moves through, the curtain lifts and falls. You can almost hear the soft murmur of brain cells when you focus on a single thought. Yet the mind is never one note. Even as you read these words, your body holds posture, keeps balance, listens to room sounds, tastes the air and measures the light. Under the surface, older parts of the brain watch your breath and heart. They keep you alive without asking. On top, newer parts build language and plans. In between, bridges carry signals in loops. From these loops, the mirror appears, steady enough to feel like a self, flexible enough to change from second to second. Let's walk to the shore of sleep. Each night, the city dims, streets empty, the lighthouse slows, waves in the brain grow large and rolling. The mirror softens and folds, yet in dreams it opens again in a different way. The stage fills with scenes made from memory and wish, from fear and hope. The rules change, time bends, faces blend. When you wake, the dream mirror fades, but you remember how real it felt. This shows that consciousness is not only tied to the outside world, it can also rise from the inside, fed by seeds you carry. There is a gentle practice you can try. Sit with your feet on the ground, rest your hands, let your eyes soften, feel the chair hold you, let the breath move like a tide. Ask, what is here? You will find sounds, touches, colours behind your eyelids, a taste, a worry, a hope. If you look for the one who looks, you find only more waves, a thought about lunch, a memory of a song, a wish to understand. The eye is not a stone at the bottom. It is the water itself. It is the way the water moves. Some teachers say that consciousness might not be a thing but a process, like a dance. A dance is not in the feet alone. It is in the beat, the space, the partner, the air. In the same way, awareness may be in the rhythm of the brain, the body, and the world together. The dance is fragile but also strong. It can change with age, with illness, with joy, and with loss. It can be trained to be calmer, kinder, more open. It can be hurt. It can heal. It is never a perfect statue. It is always a living step. There is kindness in noticing. When you notice the way your chest rises and falls, you send a small message to your nervous system. We are safe enough to pay attention. This message tones down storms inside. Muscles loosen, thoughts slow. The stage lights stop racing from scene to scene. In this softer light, you may notice more of the world, not less. You may hear the hum of a fridge like a tiny friend. You may feel the floor steady you. You may taste a simple sip of water as if it were a gift. This noticing is also knowledge. It is not loud. It is not rushed. It is true in a quiet way. Scientists love to measure, and they try to measure consciousness too. They ask a person to press a button when they see a light. They record brain waves. They give a gentle tap to the finger and watch how long it takes for the person to say, "I felt it." They use tools that make specific parts of the brain rest for a moment, then watch how the stage changes. Each method gives a clue, like a seashell found on a beach. Put the shells together and a picture appears, but never the whole ocean. The ocean keeps its secrets, and that is part of the wonder. Let's think of language. Words are nets we throw over the sea. They catch fish, but not the water. When we say red, we point to something many people can agree on. But the red you feel and the red I feel may not be the same. The word brings us close, but the glow stays private. This private glow, this what it is like inside, is one reason the mirror is a mystery. We can talk about it and compare notes. We can map the city and weigh the bridges. The taste of tea is yours. The warmth of sun is yours. The quiet of night is yours. Yet the mirror may be less lonely than it seems. When two people sit together and breathe in the same rhythm, parts of their brainwaves can move in step. When a singer sings and a crowd listens, hearts may sink for a moment. When you hold a child and sway, your nervous systems talk in slow waves. This joining is gentle and easy to miss, but it shows that the story of I is always near the story of we. The mirror knows itself better when another mirror is near. Now imagine how the self changes across a life. A newborn's mirror is small and bright, full of simple lights, warmth, hunger, touch, sound. A child's mirror grows wider, filled with names, places, and games. A teenager's mirror learns to watch itself, to wonder, to question. Who am I? An adult's mirror carries work, love, duty, and rest. An elder's mirror may grow simpler again, like a calm pond, with deep reflections and fewer ripples. These changes show that consciousness is not a fixed thing. It is a living garden that grows and trims and grows again. Why is consciousness the ultimate mystery? Because it is the one thing we cannot step outside. We can take apart a radio to see how music plays, but we cannot step outside the mind to see how a feeling feels. We only have the feeling itself. We can share words, we can compare signals, we can build careful maps of cells and waves and stages and gates. We can make guesses and test them. We can learn and learn. Still, the soft glow that says I am is always a light we see from within. It is both the candle and the room it lights. Let's drift back to that quiet room inside your head, where the mirror waits. It shows you a cup of tea, a friend's voice, a path of sun on the floor. It shows you your own face, not as eyes and nose and mouth, but as a gentle feeling of being. It is simple, like a whisper. It is deep, like the ocean. Each day you wake, and the mirror wakes with you. It will follow us as we walk through this long story. We will learn the names of its parts. We will watch how it bends and brightens. We will touch its edges with care. For now, it is enough to sit with the wonder. A small body made of star stuff and water and salt carries a light that can look at itself and say quietly, I am here. The city in your head hums. The lighthouse sweeps. The gate listens. The stage glows. The pond ripples. The garden grows. The dancer steps. And in the middle of all these soft movements, the mirror inside the mind holds a single tender truth. Your experience matters because it is the place where the world becomes warm and alive. You can almost feel the next page turning. The night air is cool, the room is still, the breath moves in and out. The brain, the body, and the world keep time together like a lullaby. This is where we begin with a simple grace, awareness of awareness, the mirror meeting its own gaze, calm as a lake at dawn, steady as a heart at rest. The mirror inside the mind never rests. It stretches its silver surface over each new dawn and folds it gently at night. To look deeper is to wander into a garden of questions. Why does this inner light arise at all? Why do sparks of matter give rise to sparks of meaning? The body is full of currents and chemistry, but the feeling of being alive seems to float above them, like mist above water. Some say consciousness is just the hum of neurons. Others whisper that it may be something more, a hidden fabric stitched into the universe itself. Imagine lying under a tree on a quiet afternoon. The air is warm, the leaves whisper, the shadows shift. Each sense plays its note. Your skin feels the sun, your ears drink the breeze, your eyes follow the green. The brain does not take these as separate gifts, it braids them into one smooth ribbon. The ribbon is consciousness at work. This binding together is more than a list. It is a song with a tempo, a mood, a flavour. The song does not simply tell you what is outside, it tells you how you belong to it, how you lean into it, how it leans into you. Let us drift into the folds of the brain once more. At the back lies the occipital lobe, where light becomes images. At the sides lie the temporal lobes, where sound becomes music and memory. At the front lies the prefrontal cortex, where plans are drawn and stories are written. These regions are like rooms in a great library. Yet the library itself, with its quiet hallways and central chamber, feels like one place. You do not say, "My occipital lobe sees the sky." You say, "I see the sky." The many voices become one voice. The library sings as one, and still, the puzzle grows stranger. There are people who lose parts of their mirror, yet continue to live in ways that seem whole. Some lose half of their visual field but do not notice it missing. Their mind fills the gap with a quiet guess. Others suffer amnesia, unable to form new memories, yet they carry a mood from each moment into the next, like a fragrance on clothes. This suggests that consciousness is not one solid crystal, but a collection of gentle waves. It is possible to lose one ripple while the pond still shines. The mystery lies in how these waves join into a smooth surface. Now think of attention again, the lighthouse sweeping. Attention is choice, but it is also effort. When you hold your mind on a single note of music, the rest of the orchestra quiets. Yet when you let go, the whole orchestra plays again. Scientists measure this with brain waves that shift like tides. A focused mind hums at certain rhythms, a drifting mind hums at others. The mirror inside listens to these changes and wears them as moods. In focus, the mirror feels sharp and narrow. In daydreams, it feels wide and soft. Both are parts of being conscious. Some philosophers suggest that consciousness is not built but revealed. They say it may be a basic part of the cosmos, like mass or charge. Just as the stone has weight because mass is woven into matter, a mind has awareness because awareness is woven into being. This view is called panpsychism. It says that even the smallest piece of matter may carry a glimmer of inner light. If so, the human brain may not create consciousness from nothing. It may simply shape and gather it, like a lens gathering sunlight. Whether this is true or not, the idea widens the mirror to include not only us, but perhaps all things. Imagine again the forest of neurons. They do not touch directly, they meet at tiny gaps. Across these gaps leap signals, fast as sparks. Chemicals carry whispers from one cell to the next. These whispers combine into waves, into loops, into vast circuits. Each loop can echo, repeat and strengthen. Some loops fold back to watch themselves. This folding may be part of what creates the sense of self, not only hearing a note but hearing that you are hearing. The mirror shines brighter when the forest listens to its own song. Memory is a bridge in this landscape. Without memory, each moment would vanish as soon as it came. With memory, moments join into stories. Stories give shape to the self. You remember your first day at school, the sound of chalk on a board, the nervous joy. You remember your grandmother's laugh. You remember your own voice in a quiet room. These memories build the continuity that says, I am the same person across time. The mirror is not only a surface for the present, it is a fabric woven from many yesterdays. Dreams show another side of the puzzle. In dreams, the mirror does not fade away, it bends. Time stretches, rules break. The dead may walk again, and impossible places feel natural. Yet even here in nonsense, the feeling of being remains. You're still someone watching, feeling, drifting. The dream world may be the mind's way of rehearsing, of sorting, of playing, but it also reveals that consciousness does not depend on the outside world alone. It can rise from within, building a theatre out of silence. The actors are memories. The stage is the mirror itself. Some scientists test the depth of consciousness by sending a quick pulse into the brain and watching the ripple. If the ripple fades fast, the person is likely unconscious. If it spreads and echoes across wide regions, the person is likely awake. This shows that consciousness may depend on how far signals travel and how richly they meet. The wider the dance, the brighter the mirror. It is not the pulse itself that matters, but the journey it takes, the paths it lights, the echoes it leaves behind. And what of language? Language allows us to name the mirror, to share it. Without words, you may still feel, still sense, still live, but with words you can say, I'm thinking, and I am sad, and I wonder. Words make the private a little more public. Yet language is also a cage. Words can never carry the full flavour of your own experience. The taste of an apple, the warmth of a hand, the ache of longing, these remain yours alone. The mirror lets us share shadows of its light, but the core glow stays hidden. Let us wander now into emotion. Emotions are not extras, they are colours of the mirror. Fear sharpens the edges, joy softens them, sadness makes the light heavy like dusk, curiosity makes it bright like morning. The body and the brain weave these moods together. Hormones shift, muscles tighten or relax, the heart speeds or slows. The brain listens to these signals and says, "This is who I am now." Emotions are the weather of consciousness. They shape the landscape through which thought and memory travel. Consider too how fragile the mirror can be. A small injury, a single drug, a change in sleep, and the surface shifts. People under anesthesia lose their mirror, even though the body still breathes and the heart still beats. When the drug fades, the mirror returns, as if it had only been sleeping. In certain illnesses, the mirror cracks. People may lose the sense of owning their own body, or they may see the world without emotion. These states remind us that consciousness is not a solid jewel, but a delicate process, always moving, always dependent on balance. There is also resilience. A brain can lose half of its tissue and still rebuild enough to live, to think, to feel. Children born with only half a brain sometimes grow into lives full of meaning, their neurons weaving new paths. This shows that the mirror is not tied to one spot, but can be shaped across the whole city. It is a property of the flow, not the bricks. The city hums, the lights move, and the mirror finds a way to shine again. Now drift to the question of free will. Do we choose our actions, or do neurons fire, and only afterward the mirror writes the story of choosing? Some experiments suggest that the brain begins to act before the mind becomes aware. If so, our choices may be like waves that start under the surface before the mirror catches their reflection. Yet the story told by the mirror still matters. It gives meaning, it gives coherence. It allows us to say, I did this, and I will do that. Whether free will is deep or shallow, it feels real, and this feeling shapes our lives. Think also of how the mirror changes with culture. In some places, People see the self as separate, sharp and independent. In others, the self is woven into family, into village, into land. The mirror does not float above the world untouched. It grows in soil. It absorbs the voices and stories around it. A child raised with kindness carries a different mirror than a child raised with fear. This suggests that consciousness is not only biology, but also environment, a soft clay molded by touch. Technology now builds new mirrors. Virtual worlds create spaces that the brain treats as real. People feel presence, connection, even identity inside them. Could these new spaces shape new forms of consciousness? Could machines ever hold their own mirrors? These questions rise often. Some argue yes, that with enough integration and loops, awareness may glow. Others argue no, that machines lack the living tissue, the heartbeat, the breath. For now, the machine's answers are echoes, clever but empty. Yet we do not know what future mirrors may appear. The mystery remains. Each path of science opens new doors, but also deeper questions. We can measure, we can test, we can model, yet at the end, there is still the private glow, the inner lake. It is the one thing we know most directly, and the one thing we cannot fully explain. It is both the starting point and the final riddle. To look into the mirror inside the mind is to see not only yourself, but the edge of human knowledge, the horizon of wonder. Let us pause here, in this middle ground. We have wandered from neurons to dreams, from memories to machines, from feelings to free will. The mirror has shown us many faces, all connected, all mysterious. It is both fragile and strong, local and wide, simple and complex. It is the thread that runs through every moment of life. To feel it is to be alive, to question it is to be human. To rest in its glow is to find peace. The story is not finished. There is still more to explore. The mirror holds quiet surprises yet to be revealed. As we drift onward, we will try to bring this journey toward a gentle close, letting the mystery rest in our hands like a soft stone, smooth and endless, light and deep. The mirror inside the mind continues to shine, even as the hours pass and the questions deepen. We have followed its surface from the sparks of neurons to the breath of dreams, from the sweep of attention to the tides of memory. Now we drift toward a soft resolution, a place where wonder can settle like dew on grass. The puzzle of consciousness does not end in answers. It ends in stillness, in the acceptance that mystery itself can be gentle company. Imagine once more the city of the brain, lit at night. The streets and bridges glow with currents. The neighborhoods hum with secret talk. If you step back far enough, the whole city seems like one living lantern. It does not need to know every car or every street to shine. It shines because all parts move together. So too with consciousness. It may not be about single signals or single places. It may be about the harmony of all parts weaving in time, about the song that arises when many voices breathe as one. The mirror glows not because it is separate, but because it is together. And yet to be human is to seek more. We do not stop at the glow. We want to ask, why this glow? Why not silence? The very fact that we can ask shows the depth of the puzzle. Rocks do not ask. Rivers do not arc. Trees bend and turn, but do not whisper questions into the night. Humans, fragile and brief, look inward and outward and wonder about their own wonder. The mirror shows not only the world but itself, and in doing so it gives rise to philosophy, to science, to art, to prayer. This looping back, this gaze of the mirror upon itself, is perhaps the most tender mystery of all. Think of art. A painting does not breathe, yet it can move you. A melody does not think, yet it can make you cry. These movements happen only because there is a listener, a seer, a conscious being who takes the strokes and notes and lets them live inside. Without consciousness, beauty has no stage. The stars would shine, but no one would know. The ocean would roar, but no one would hear. The flower would bloom, but no one would see. Consciousness makes the universe aware of itself. It is the thread that ties matter to meaning. Let us pause with nature again. A deer in the forest pricks its ears at a sound. A bird tilts its head toward the sun. A cat curls on a windowsill, eyes half closed, purring into warmth. Do they feel the same mirror we do? Or is their light softer, simpler, closer to the ground? We do not know. Yet it seems gentle to imagine that every creature carries a flame, however small. Life seems less lonely if we picture countless mirrors glowing together. Some faint, some bright, each one a lantern of its own. Think of the cosmos. For billions of years, stars formed, burned and died. Planets cooled, oceans rose, cells divided, creatures grew. Only recently on one small world did matter begin to ask, "Who am I?" Out of dust and time, a being emerged who could say, "I am aware." Consciousness is not just a personal riddle, it is a cosmic one. It means the universe can look back at itself through our eyes. It means the stars that once burned without witness now shine in minds that can marvel. The mirror inside you is, in a way, the universe seeing its own reflection. And what of endings? Each life carries a mirror only for a time. When the body rests for the last time, the mirror dims. Some believe it ends there, like a candle gone out. Others believe the flame is carried elsewhere, into other forms, other realms. Science does not yet know, and perhaps it never will. But in the space between certainty and silence lies something gentle. The knowledge that while we are here, the mirror shines, and that is enough. To be alive, to feel, to wonder, that is already a gift. The mirror is also a teacher. It shows us not only the world, but also ourselves. When we notice anger, we can choose kindness. When we notice fear, we can choose patience. When we notice joy, we can choose gratitude. Consciousness gives us this power, the ability to notice noticing. It's not always easy, but it is always possible. The mirror does not only reflect, it can also guide. It can remind us that every thought is a cloud, every feeling a wave, every moment a seed. What grows from them depends on what we choose to water. Some traditions teach meditation as a way to polish the mirror. Sit, breathe, and let the surface grow calm. Thoughts will come like leaves falling on water. But with practice, the water grows clear. In that clarity, some say one can see that the self is not separate, that the mirror is not bound by walls of skin. The breath connects you to the air connects you to the trees connect you to the sun. In this chain, the mirror is part of everything, and everything is part of the mirror. Science may use other words, but the insight is the same. The self is woven, not isolated. Technology may one day build new kinds of mirrors, perhaps in silicon, perhaps in networks that stretch across the planet. If such mirrors ever truly shine, we may not recognize them at first. They may not speak or move as we do. Their awareness may be strange, unfamiliar, alien. Yet if they do arise, the question will be the same. how can we tell? For we cannot step into another's mirror. We can only look for signs, listen for voices, share stories. Consciousness, in this way, will always be partly hidden, partly guessed, partly imagined. It is a mystery not only of the self but of others. There is a humility in this. Science can measure, map and model. Philosophy can question and reason. Art can hint and evoke. Yet the heart of consciousness remains beyond capture. It is not a bug in our tools, but a feature of the thing itself. The mirror cannot fully step outside itself to see its own silver. It can only reflect. This limitation is not a failure, it is a beauty. It means that wonder will always remain. It means that mystery will always walk beside us, soft as a shadow, bright as a star. As we draw this story to its close, let us return to the image of dawn. A quiet lake, a rising sun. The water reflects the light, trembling perfect. You stand on the shore and watch. The lake does not need to explain itself, it simply shines. So too with the mirror inside the mind. It does not need to solve its own mystery to be real. It simply shines, quietly, steadily, carrying each breath, each thought, each feeling. It is the most ordinary thing and the most extraordinary. It is the gentle light in which life unfolds. So let us end with this. Consciousness is the ultimate mystery because it is both the question and the answer, both the seeker and the sought. It is the canvas and the paint, the mirror and the face. To live with this mystery is not to be lost. It is to be awake. It is to rest in the glow that says softly, I am here. And in that soft truth, there is peace. The city hums, the pond ripples, the garden grows, the dancer steps, and the mirror inside the mind reflects it all endlessly, quietly, tenderly. There is a silence in the brain that is never truly silent. Beneath the stillness of sleep, beneath the calm of closed eyes, a forest of tiny cells whispers to itself. These are the neurons, the living thread of thought. They do not rest as we rest. They move in patterns, in waves, in sparks of light, too small for us to see but vast enough to build a world inside. When you dream, it is these neurons that weave the fabric. They are the quiet artists, the silent architects. They are the ones that dream in silence. Imagine standing on a hill at night, looking down at a city. The streets are dim, the shops are closed, the crowds are gone. But here and there, small windows glow. A light flickers in one home, then another, then another. This is the brain at rest. Most of it is quiet, but in hidden corners, small lights keep watch. They whisper, they plan, they file away the day's stories. Neurons do not sleep as we do. They carry on building connections, trimming old branches, making the mind ready for tomorrow. The brain holds nearly 90 billion neurons. Each one reaches out with delicate arms, touching thousands of others. Together they form a forest so dense that even a grain of sand holds more branches than the mightiest redwood grove. Signals travel this forest at the speed of thought, faster than we can notice, faster than we can name. In waking, this forest hums with loud, bright chatter. In sleep, the chatter changes. It slows, deepens, becomes a rhythm. The neurons dream not in words, but in waves. Think of sleep as a tide. When it first rises, it is light and playful. Thoughts still float near the shore. Faces appear, sounds repeat, fragments of the day ripple through. This is the first stage, where neurons begin to sing slower songs. As the tide rises higher, the waves grow deep. The body loosens, the eyes roll, and neurons fall into slow, steady rhythms. Their pulses join together like drummers at a festival. Then suddenly the tide changes again. The eyes flicker behind closed lids. The breathing grows quick. The neurons spark in wild, chaotic bursts. This is dreaming. The silence becomes alive with scenes, with stories, with strange and glowing worlds. Scientists call these stages non-REM and REM sleep. Non-REM is the deep tide, the slow rhythm. REM is the restless tide, the wild rhythm. Both are needed, both are sacred. In deep sleep, neurons rebuild, restore, repair. The day's noise is softened, the body's weight is lifted. In REM sleep, neurons play. They replay moments but also invent. They weave memories with imagination. They take the voice of a friend and place it in the mouth of a bird. They turn a hallway into a river, a hand into a star. In this silent play, neurons give us dreams. What is a dream? It is not just memory and not just fantasy. It is the brain practicing. A dream lets neurons test new paths, new ways of weaving. A child dreams of running and the brain strengthens the pattern of running. A student dreams of words and the brain builds the pattern of language. Even fears have their place. To dream of falling may help the brain prepare for danger. To dream of speaking may help the brain find courage. Dreams are rehearsals written in soft ink. And yet dreams are also mysteries. Why should the brain create whole worlds when the body is still? Some scientists think dreams are the mind's way of cleaning, like a house sweeping out dust. Others think dreams are the mind's way of healing, letting hidden worries play out in safe theatres. Still others think dreams are simply noise, sparks with no meaning. But even if they are noise, the mirror of consciousness turns them into story. The neurons may whisper without words, but the self listens, shaping silence into song. Now imagine the hippocampus, a small seahorse-shaped structure deep inside the brain. It is the librarian of memory. Each day it gathers new books, faces, places, facts, feelings. At night, while you sleep, the hippocampus works with the cortex, the wider library, to file these books on the right shelves. Neurons replay the day in fast bursts, like echoes of experience. The replay strengthens paths, so tomorrow you will remember where you walked, what you learned, who you loved. Without this nighttime rehearsal, the day's books fade, their ink dissolving by morning light. This replay is not only for memory, it also helps the brain decide what matters. Not every face, not every word, not every shadow is kept. Neurons choose gently what to hold and what to let go. They keep the important, the emotional, the meaningful. They let go of clutter. In this way, the silence of sleep is an act of editing, of pruning. The forest grows stronger by trimming its own branches. This is why sleep is vital. Without it, the forest grows tangled, the paths unclear, the mirror dim. But neurons do more than repair and replay. They also build new bridges. A problem left unsolved at night may find its answer by morning. The saying, "sleep on it," is rooted in truth. While you rest, neurons test new connections. They bring together distant parts of the brain, letting imagination wander without the limits of waking logic. The dream may be strange, but within it may lie a seed of insight. Many artists, scientists, and thinkers have found inspiration in dreams, a melody, an invention, a story. The neurons dreaming in silence give gifts in the dark. There are other rhythms too. Neurons do not only dream at night. Even in waking, they drift into patterns of silence and noise. Daydreams are one example. When your eyes glaze over and your mind wanders, neurons slip into a mode that resembles dreaming. The default mode network, as scientists call it, awakens. This network hums when you are not focused, when your thoughts drift inward. It is the place of imagination, of self-reflection, of memory weaving. In this sense, even waking life has its own silent dreams. Consider how fragile these rhythms are. A single restless night can dim the mirror the next day. Focus fades, memory slips, emotions grow sharp. The forest cannot prune or replay. The branches sere. Over time, without sleep, the whole system weakens. This is why rest is sacred. Neurons, like any living thing, need cycles of activity and silence. Their silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It is full of dreams, and yet not all dreams are gentle. Some are heavy, filled with fear. Nightmares rise from deep places, bringing hidden wounds to the surface. They can wake us sweating, heart racing. Still, even nightmares may serve a purpose. They let the brain rehearse danger, prepare for fear, and perhaps release pain. They show us what lies hidden in the forest. They remind us that neurons do not only carry light, they also carry shadow. The silence they dream in is wide enough to hold both. There are people who never dream or who believe they never do. Science shows that nearly everyone dreams, but some do not remember. The neurons whisper, but the memory fades with the dawn. Others dream vividly, remembering each detail, each scene. Some can even guide their dreams, a state called lucid dreaming. Here, neurons build a world, and the dreamer walks within it awake. To guide a dream is to see the silent forest from above, to play among its branches with open eyes. It is a reminder that consciousness does not sleep completely. A spark always watches. Think too of animals. Dogs twitch in their sleep, paws moving as if they run. Birds rustle, eyes closed, wings shifting. Even tiny mice show signs of dreaming. Their neurons replay mazes they ran, paths they walked. Dreams may be as ancient as life itself, a tool for survival, a gift from evolution. If so, then we share the silent dreams of neurons not only with each other, but with every creature that rests under the stars. So the silence of neurons is not silence at all. It is rhythm, pattern, creation. It is the soundless choir that sings as we sleep. Without it, we could not remember, we could not learn, we could not heal. Without it, the mirror of the mind would crack, unable to hold the light of experience. With it, we are renewed each night, given back to ourselves by morning ready to live again. As you close your eyes tonight, remember that within the silence, a forest of light is still alive. The neurons whisper, they ripple, they dream. They carry you through oceans of memory, through strange skies, through endless rooms. And when you wake, you carry their gifts with you whether you remember or not. This is the gentle secret of sleep. The neurons dream in silence, and in their dreaming they keep you whole. The neurons that dream in silence do not simply replay the day, they sculpt it. Each night, while you drift beneath blankets and stars, they take the rough clay of experience and shape it into something smoother, stronger, easier to hold. They decide which moments to keep and which to release, which fears to soften and which joys to plant deeper. In their quiet workshop, the brain's artisans carve the self anew. Each morning when you open your eyes, you're not quite the same as you were before. You carry the mark of their silent labour. Picture the hippocampus again, that seahorse-shaped librarian. By day, it stacks fresh notes and journals in a temporary pile. By night, with the help of the cortex, it files them into lasting shelves. The neurons replay scenes in bursts of quick fire like flickers of lightning. A conversation, a smell, a face, a sound, all are replayed, strengthened, and stored. Without this nightly process, the pile would collapse. Memories would blur. Knowledge would vanish. The story of your life would lose its thread. The neurons dream in silence, not only for play, but for survival. Sleep is not uniform. It flows in cycles of about 90 minutes, repeating through the night. Light sleep, deep sleep, dreaming sleep, all follow one another like the turning of waves on a shore. In deep sleep, neurons pulse in slow unison. Their silence is heavy, like a choir singing a single note. In dreaming sleep, neurons scatter into rapid bursts. Their silence is lively, like many instruments tuning at once. Each cycle refreshes different parts of the self. Each rhythm adds another layer to the mirror inside the mind. One of the quiet miracles of neurons is their plasticity, their ability to change, to form new paths. A skill practiced during the day becomes stronger at night. Musicians who rehearse scales, athletes who train their movements, students who memorize facts, all find their learning solidified after sleep. Neurons replay the practice, carving deeper grooves in the forest floor. It is as though the brain learns twice, once in the daylight, with effort, and once in the night, with silence. The silent dream is a second teacher, invisible yet essential. Now think of emotion. Experiences heavy with feeling are more likely to be replayed and remembered. A joyful laugh, a sharp grief, a moment of awe, these burn brighter in the brain's library. At night, neurons revisit them, weaving them tighter into the self. This is why dreams often carry strong emotions, even when the scenes are strange. The neurons amplify what matters to the heart. They remind us that knowledge is not enough, meaning lives where thought and feeling meet. In their Slumber, they honour not only what we know, but also what we love, what we fear, what we long for. There is also a cleansing in sleep. Neurons release waste products, washing the brain with cerebrospinal fluid. The night is not only a time of dreams, but also of cleaning. Toxins are carried away like dust swept from a floor. Without this nightly wash, the forest of neurons becomes clouded. Paths clog, signals blur, health fades. The silence of dreaming neurons is also the silence of restoration. They mend the body even as they weave the mind. Some mysteries of dreaming reveal the brain's vast creativity. Dreams may blend the impossible with the familiar, flying across oceans, speaking with the dead, walking through rooms that shift into endless mazes. These are not mere errors. They show how neurons connect distant memories, uniting fragments that waking life keeps apart. A bird and a friend, a hallway and a river, a hand and a star. The silence of neurons is not blankness. It is imagination unchained. In dreams, the forest explores paths that daylight would never allow. Lucid dreaming, when one becomes aware inside a dream, reveals another wonder. Neurons build a world, and within that world, consciousness wakes again. The dreamer can choose, can explore, can play. The mirror reflects itself within itself. This shows that awareness is not tied only to the waking world. It can bloom even inside the silence of neurons. The brain can carry two mirrors at once, the one that sees the outer world and the one that sees the inner. The silent forest holds both. Yet not all dreams are gentle. Nightmares remind us that neurons also hold pain. They may replay traumas, casting them in distorted forms. The dreamer wakes in fear, heart racing, breath fast. Some scientists believe nightmares are rehearsals, letting the brain prepare for danger. Others believe they are releases, giving the body a way to feel and release what is too heavy for waking life. Either way, nightmares show that silence is not always peace. The neurons speak truths we might wish to ignore, whispering them in dark tones. Children dream differently than adults. Their neurons are still wiring, still pruning, still exploring. Their dreams are often vivid, full of fantasy and play. They may be less bound by rules, more filled with wonder. In youth, the forest grows wild. In age, it grows steady, shaped by years of trimming. Adults may dream less often or remember less, but their purpose remains. The neurons continue their nightly work, quiet and essential, from birth to final rest. Animals too carry their own silent dreams. Dogs chase rabbits in their sleep. Cats twitch their tails, whiskers trembling. Birds rehearse songs. Mice replay mazes. Even creatures smaller than a hand reveal signs of dreaming. This suggests that the silent labour of neurons is ancient, woven into the fabric of life itself. Sleep may be one of evolution's greatest gifts, a universal workshop where the mind repairs, practices, and grows. There is beauty in the way neurons synchronize. In deep sleep, they pulse together, rising and falling like a tide. These slow waves travel across the cortex, binding distant regions into harmony. It is as though the forest of neurons breathes as one. In dreaming sleep, the waves grow faster, chaotic, more colourful. The silence becomes filled with sparks, like fireflies in the dark. Both rhythms are needed. Both are part of the same song. Consider the cost of losing sleep. When neurons cannot complete their silent work, the body grows weak, the mind grows clouded, emotions grow sharp. Memory fails, focus slips, judgment wavers. Prolonged loss of sleep can even bring hallucinations, waking dreams that spill into day. This shows how deeply we depend on the silence of neurons. It is not luxury, it is necessity. Without their silent labour, the mirror inside us shatters, and yet in modern life many neglect this gift. Lights burn late, screens glow, schedules press. The silent forest is left restless, its cycles broken. To honour sleep is to honour neurons, to give them the time and stillness they need. It is to trust that silence is not wasted. It is healing, it is memory, it is imagination. Each night is a chance to be remade, gently, quietly by the neurons that dream. As we consider these wonders, let us reflect on what it means to be human. We live our days filled with noise, tasks, voices, light, but each night we surrender to silence. We close our eyes and trust the neurons to carry us through. We wake refreshed, not because of our will, but because of their work. The neurons dream in silence, and we are the beneficiaries. Their whispers shape our lives more than we will ever know. The story of neurons is not only scientific, it is poetic. It is the story of how silence creates song, how rest creates renewal, how darkness creates light. The neurons that dream are artists of the unseen. They paint with sparks, they sculpt with waves, they compose with rhythms. Their masterpiece is the self you carry each day, the mirror that reflects the world and calls it me. And all of this is done while you sleep, while you lie in quiet, while the neurons dream in silence. The neurons that dream in silence are more than keepers of memory or builders of skill. They are guardians of the self, shaping each dawn with the gifts of the night. Their labour is unseen, yet it touches every thought, every feeling, every step you take. Without their nightly silence, the world would lose its coherence. Life would unravel into fragments. To understand their role is to glimpse the quiet miracle that makes each morning possible. Consider how neurons weave emotion into the fabric of memory. A moment without feeling often fades, while a moment filled with joy, sorrow, or awe lingers. During sleep, neurons replay not only the event, but also the feeling attached to it. A laugh remains bright, a grief remains heavy, a fear remains sharp. These emotional threads help the brain decide what to keep, what to let go. In silence, neurons become storytellers, choosing the colours of memory, painting them into the tapestry of self. The dreaming brain is also a stage for healing. When life's weight presses too heavily, neurons use the night to soften the load. They replay the pain in gentler tones, weaving it into dream narratives where the edges are blurred. Traumas may resurface, but in forms that allow the body to face them without breaking. Scientists believe that this processing helps reduce stress, calms anxiety, restores balance. It is as if the neurons whisper to the heart, "You are safe, you can rest, you can begin again." Now think of creativity. Many discoveries and works of art have been born in dreams. A melody heard in sleep becomes a symphony. A strange vision becomes a story. A sudden insight solves a riddle, unsolved by waking thought. This happens because neurons in dreams are freer, less bound by the rules of logic. They connect ideas that waking life keeps apart. They let imagination roam wild. The silence of neurons is not emptiness. It is fertile ground, a hidden garden where seeds of invention grow. The default mode network, active during daydreams, also reminds us that dreaming is not confined to sleep. Even in waking hours, when you drift into reverie, neurons create silent worlds. You imagine conversations, replay past events, invent future ones. This wandering is not wasted time, it is practice, exploration, preparation. The neurons that dream in silence are always near, weaving even in daylight, shaping the mirror with threads of possibility. Dreams also reveal the pliability of identity. In them you can become someone else, shift from place to place, dissolve into light, merge with the sky. The sense of self is not fixed. It bends, it flows, it disappears and reappears. This shows that the self we hold so firmly in waking life is a construction, fragile and flexible. The neurons that dream remind us that identity is not a stone but a stream. It changes with each moment, each thought, each dream. Nightmares, though painful, also serve this shifting purpose. They bring the shadow to light, forcing the self to face what it fears. Some scientists believe this rehearsal helps survival, preparing us for threats. Others believe nightmares are a form of emotional release, a way to purge the unspoken. In both cases, they are evidence of neurons working not against us but for us. Even in terror they serve, guiding the self through dark forests so the morning may be lighter. Lucid dreaming adds another layer of wonder. To wake within a dream is to meet consciousness in its most playful form. Here, neurons create a world, and within that world the dreamer becomes aware. You can fly, shape landscapes with long-lost voices. The neurons provide the canvas, the conscious mind becomes the painter. This shows that even within silence, the spark of awareness can bloom. The dreamer is not only the audience, but also the author. It is a reminder that the mind contains layers within layers, mirrors within mirrors. Animals remind us again of the ancientness of this process. Dogs run in their sleep, cats twitch their tails, birds rehearse their songs. Even reptiles show patterns of rest that resemble dreaming. If neurons across species dream in silence, then this rhythm may be as old as life itself. It may have guided creatures long before humans walked the earth. To dream is to belong to a lineage of sleepers, each one renewed by the quiet labour of neurons. What happens when sleep is lost tells us much. Deprived of dreaming, the mind begins to fray. Memory falters, emotions grow raw, attention slips. Hallucinations may appear, dreams invading waking life. The neurons, denied their silence, cannot maintain balance. This fragility shows how deeply we depend on their nightly work. To honour sleep is to honour life itself, to give neurons the silence they need to weave us whole again. In illness, the dreaming brain reveals more mysteries. Disorders like narcolepsy blur the line between waking and dreaming. People fall into REM sleep suddenly, pulled into dreamscapes even while standing. Other conditions bring vivid nightmares or restless sleep. These remind us that neurons are delicate, their rhythms easily disturbed. Yet they also show resilience. Treatments, habits, and care can restore balance, allowing the silent forest to sing again. Technology now allows us to watch neurons as they dream. Machines record brainwaves, revealing slow tides and rapid bursts. Scientists can even nudge dreams, guiding their content with sounds or scents. One day, we may learn to shape dreams intentionally, to use the silent labour of neurons for healing, learning, or art. But even with these tools, the essence of dreaming remains beyond capture. The neurons dream in silence, and much of their work is known only to them. As we draw this story to a close, imagine lying under a tree at night, eyes closed, breath steady. Above you, scatters like sparks across the dark. Inside you, neurons scatter their own sparks, weaving dreams as vast as the sky. The silence between stars is not empty. It holds galaxies. The silence between neurons is not empty, it holds the self. In both, creation moves unseen, gentle and endless. So let us rest in gratitude. Each night the neurons carry us through oceans of silence. They replay, they repair, they create. They shape memory, soften pain, spark imagination. They are the unseen guardians, the dreamers within. To know this is to see sleep not as surrender, but as renewal, not as absence, but as gift. When you close your eyes tonight, remember the forest inside you, alive with silent song. The neurons dream, and because they do, you wake to the light of a new day. Awareness flows like a river. It begins in hidden springs deep inside the mind, trickling through rocks and roots, gathering strength as it moves. It winds through valleys of sensation, across plains of memory, over the cliffs of thought. Always moving, never still, it carries the self like a boat upon its surface. This is the river of awareness, the ceaseless current that allows us to feel, to know, to be. Without it, life would be a landscape unseen, a song unheard, a world without witness. Imagine waking at dawn, your eyes open to soft light. The sound of birds filters in, the smell of air carries a coolness. At first, it is just sensation, light, sound, scent. But as the river rises, the sensation join together. You do not say, "There is light, there is sound, there is scent." You say, "I am awake." The river gathers the tributaries of the senses into one wide current. The self floats upon it, carried by its strength. In this way, awareness is not a collection of fragments but a continuous flow. The river has many sources. At its headwaters lie the senses, those 5 familiar gateways: sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell. Each provides its own stream, small and distinct. Sight gives form, hearing gives time, touch gives presence, taste gives flavour, smell gives memory. Alone, each stream is narrow. Together they merge into a river broad enough to carry a world. Awareness is not built from one sense but from their union, their meeting, their mingling. But the senses alone do not make awareness. A stone touched by rain feels the coolness of water but does not know it. A bell struck by wind vibrates with sound but does not hear. Awareness requires not only streams but a mind to gather them. Neurons must meet, signals must join, rhythms must sync. When they do, the river forms. When they do not, the world remains silent. It is this joining that gives rise to the current of being, the flow we call awareness. The river is never the same from moment to moment. It changes with each breath, each blink, each thought. Yet we feel it as continuous, as unbroken. This is one of the wonders of awareness. The self feels like one steady boat, though the river beneath it is made of countless drops rushing past. A memory may enter the stream, blending with a sound, a thought, a plan. The water changes, but the flow continues. We are continuity built from change, identity woven from motion. Attention is the rudder of this boat. The river carries many things at once: sights, sounds, sensations, thoughts, but attention steers toward one. When you listen closely to a song, the music fills the river's surface while other currents sink below. When you focus on a memory, the past rises, the present fades. Attention shapes the journey, deciding which tributary to follow, which bends to explore. Yet even when attention narrows, the rest of the river still flows, wide and deep, carrying what lies beyond awareness. Sometimes the river widens so much it feels endless. In moments of awe, standing before mountains or staring at stars, awareness expands, filling the whole horizon. The self becomes small, the world becomes vast, yet both belong to the same current. At other times, the river narrows to a trickle. In deep focus, in meditation, in certain states of flow, awareness holds only a single drop. Time itself seems to pause, the current hidden, the self absorbed into one clear stream. Awareness is both ocean and droplet, wide and narrow, shifting like water in the wind. The river of awareness does not only flow forward. Memory allows it to curve back, to carry echoes of the past. Imagination allows it to bend ahead, to carry visions of the future. Together, these bends create the sense of time. Without them, the river would be only a present moment, a single point. With them, it becomes a story. We float not only in now, but in then and soon. We remember where we have been. We imagine where we will go. The river is not bound by its banks. It meanders through time itself. Consider how the river shifts in dreams. The senses close, the outside streams quiet, but the river still flows. It draws from memory and imagination, weaving them into strange currents. A hallway becomes a forest, a face becomes a bird, a voice becomes a song. The self still rides the boat, though the water is unfamiliar. The river of awareness never dries, even in sleep. It only changes its course, finding new channels, exploring hidden lands. There are times when the river falters. Under anesthesia, the current slows, eddies form, and the boat drifts into stillness. In deep unconsciousness, the flow seems to vanish altogether. Yet even then, the springs remain, ready to rise again. Awareness is not destroyed but paused, waiting for the signal to release its waters. When the drug fades, when the injury heals, the river rushes back, carrying the boat once more. The return feels like waking, like dawn after night, like the world restored. Some traditions speak of awareness as the ground of being, the source beneath all rivers. They say it is not just a product of the brain but the essence of existence, the ocean from which all currents arise. Science may not agree, but the metaphor holds power. Awareness feels larger than the self, larger than thought. It feels like something we step into, not something we create. Like a river that existed before the boat, awareness may be the landscape in which the self takes shape. Even if it is not cosmic, awareness is still profound. It allows us to see beauty, to feel love, to taste sorrow, to know meaning. Without it, there is no art, no science, no story, no prayer. Awareness is the stage upon which all of life's play unfolds. It is the river that carries the boat of identity, the water that gives movement to thought, the current that connects inner world to outer. It is the gentle flow that turns experience into existence. Pause for a moment. Notice your breath. Notice the weight of your body on the chair, the sounds around you, the light upon your eyes. Each is a tributary. Together, they form the river. And within that river floats the simple, quiet truth. You are aware. This truth is ordinary, present every second. Yet it is also extraordinary, the foundation of all you know. To recognize it is to stand upon the shore of the mystery, watching the water flow, endless, patient, serene. The river of awareness has no beginning that we can see and no end that we can name. It began before you remember, and it will flow until memory itself fades. It is the constant beneath all change, the presence beneath all absence. To know it is to know life itself. To feel it is to feel the soft miracle of being. The neurons fire, the senses sing, the mind gathers, and the river flows. In silence, in motion, in endless continuity, it carries us home. The river of awareness deepens as we follow its bends. It does not simply carry sights and sounds upon its surface. It soaks them into its waters, mixes them, transforms them into the experience of life. Each moment is like a drop, small and fleeting, yet when joined with countless others, it becomes a vast current. To live is to float upon this stream, carried by forces both hidden and clear, both fragile and strong. The mystery of consciousness lies in how these separate drops become a single flow, how the many become one. Imagine again the senses as tributaries. Sight pours in with colour and shape, hearing pours in with rhythm and tone, touch pours in with texture and warmth, smell and taste bring subtle flavours. Alone each tributary is narrow, but as they merge the river widens. Awareness is not sight alone or sound alone, but the blending of all into one surface of experience. It is this merging that makes the world whole, that turns fragments into a landscape that allows us to say not just, I see a tree, but I stand beneath the shade of a tree, hearing the wind, smelling the earth, feeling the coolness. Memory joins the river from another direction, feeding it with streams from the past. Without memory, awareness would be a single drop disappearing as soon as it falls. With memory, the river stretches, carrying echoes of yesterday into today. You hear a song and remember a face, you smell bread and remember a childhood kitchen. The past and present mix, colouring each other, shaping the flow. In this way, memory makes awareness not just a mirror of now, but a tapestry of time. Imagination bends the river forward. It allows awareness to reach into the future, to shape possibilities before they arrive. You imagine a conversation and your awareness rehearses it. You imagine a journey and your awareness builds it. The river does not only reflect what is, it projects what might be. In this way, imagination and memory together stretch awareness across time. You live not only in the moment, but in the story woven by countless moments, past and future flowing together. Attention is still the rudder, steering the boat along chosen currents. When you focus on a sound, the rest of the river sinks beneath. When you focus on a thought, the outer world fades. But attention does not stop the river. Beneath the chosen stream, countless others continue. The hum of awareness is layered, with surface currents and deep undercurrents. Some are noticed, some remain unseen, yet all flow together, creating the richness of experience. This hidden depth is part of why awareness feels so vast, even in simple moments. Consider emotions as dyes poured into the river. Joy makes the water shimmer with light. Sadness deepens it into dark blues. Anger quickens its current. Fear chills it. Love warms it. Without these colours, awareness would be pale and flat. With them, it becomes vivid, meaningful, alive. Emotions are not separate from awareness. They are part of its very water. They shape how the world appears, how it feels, how it matters. To be aware is always to be aware with feeling. The river also flows differently in different states. In waking life, it is swift, filled with the tributaries of senses, thoughts, tasks. In dreaming, it slows, turns inward, drawing from memory and imagination. In meditation, it can grow calm and clear, the surface smooth, reflection steady. In altered states, through music, ritual, or substances, the river may change course, widening, narrowing, deepening, or rushing. These shifts show the flexibility of awareness, its ability to reshape, to explore new channels, to reveal new horizons. There are moments when awareness seems to expand beyond the self, when the boundaries of the boat dissolve and the river feels infinite. Mystics speak of unity, emerging with all things. Scientists speak of altered brain rhythms, of networks silenced and others awakened. Whatever the cause, the experience is real. Awareness can grow so wide it seems to hold the sky, so deep it seems to touch the roots of being. These moments remind us that the river is not always confined by familiar banks. It can flood the plains, touching everything. At other times, awareness shrinks to the narrowest trickle. In deep concentration, the world disappears, leaving only a single task, a single thought, a single drop. Time bends. Hours pass unnoticed. This state, often called flow, is another way the river shapes life. It shows that awareness is not fixed but fluid, able to expand and contract, to flood and to trickle, to hold everything or only one thing. The river is alive, always changing, always in motion. The fragility of awareness becomes clear when the river is disrupted. In deep unconsciousness, after injury or under anesthesia, the current fades. The boat drifts into stillness. Yet when the flow returns, it often feels seamless, as if the gap were only a blink. Awareness has no edges we can hold. It is either there, carrying us, or gone, leaving silence. Its return is like dawn, sudden and soft. The river rushing again after hidden springs are reopened. Some philosophers argue that awareness is not only a river within us, but also the water of existence itself. They see consciousness as fundamental, woven into the fabric of reality, with minds as boats floating upon an infinite sea. Science does not confirm this, but the image captures something felt. Awareness often seems larger than the brain, larger than the self. It feels like something we enter, not something we build. Whether this is truth or metaphor, it reveals the depth of the mystery. The river also connects us to one another. When you speak with a friend, your awareness touches theirs. Words carry across like ripples. When you share a song, your emotions align, your currents merge. In crowds, in rituals, in love, rivers of awareness run together, joining into larger flows. We are not isolated streams, but tributaries of a greater current, weaving together in ways both subtle and profound. This interconnection is part of what makes awareness not only personal but shared. Pause again, notice the river now, the sound of these words, the feeling of your body, the memories stirred, the images rising. All are drops within the current. They join into a single flow, the flow of your awareness in this moment. To recognize it is to see the water itself, not only the reflections upon it. It is to see that being aware is the foundation of all else, the silent current beneath every thought, every action, every dream. The river of awareness carries us whether we notice or not. It flows when we are busy, when we are idle, when we are joyful, when we are weary. It is always present, always moving, always gathering drops into continuity. To live with awareness of awareness is to step into the current knowingly, to float with open eyes, to rest in the miracle that the river flows at all. This is the gift of consciousness, the simple and profound truth that we are carried moment by the river of being. The river of awareness has carried us through its sources and its depths, through the tributaries of sensation, the bends of memory, the curves of imagination. Now we drift toward its mouth, where it meets the ocean of mystery. To follow this river is to follow the self, to watch how the countless drops of experience become one continuous flow. The journey does not end in certainty. It ends in wonder, in the soft realization that the current itself is the gift. Consider the way the river carries identity. Each morning when you wake, you step into the same current. You feel continuity, the sense that you are the same person who dreamed last night, who lived yesterday, who remembers childhood. Yet in truth, the water is never the same. The neurons fire anew, the sensations shift, the thoughts arise and pass. What persists is not the drops but the flow. You are the continuity of the river, not the pieces of water that compose it. This is why the self feels whole even as its parts change, why you can grow and still be you. The river also teaches impermanence. Just as no drop remains, no thought, no feeling, no moment is fixed. Joy arises, sparkles on the surface and drifts away. Sorrow darkens the current, then fades into lighter hues. Awareness holds all without clinging, moving forward with each passing instant. To see this is to find peace. Life is not a stagnant pool but a flowing stream. Its beauty lies in motion, in change, in the ceaseless unfolding of moments. At times the river may seem turbulent. Anxiety stirs the waters, anger quickens the current, grief floods its banks. In such times it is easy to feel lost, the boat tossed without control. Yet even in turbulence the river flows forward. Beneath the surface deeper currents remain steady. To rest in awareness itself, not only in its contents, is to find calm in the storm. The river teaches that even when the surface is rough, the flow continues carrying us onward. In moments of stillness, the river reveals its clarity. Meditation is one way to rest upon its calm surface. Sitting quietly, watching the breath, noticing thoughts as they rise and fall, we see that the river is not only the waves but also the water. Thoughts are ripples, feelings are eddies, sensations are streams. But the awareness itself, the water that holds them, is constant. To notice this is to glimpse the purity of being, the clear current beneath all movement. The river of awareness also shapes meaning. Without it, events would pass unnoticed, beauty unseen, love unfelt. With it, the world becomes alive, filled with depth and significance. A flower is not only petals and colour, but also the feeling it stirs, the memory it evokes, the wonder it inspires. Awareness transforms matter into meaning, turning the external world into internal experience. This is the alchemy of consciousness: water into life, motion into story, flow into self. Science seeks to measure this river, to chart its currents with brainwaves and scans. Philosophy seeks to explain it, to find its source and its nature. Spiritual traditions seek to enter it more deeply, to merge with its ocean. Yet none can capture it fully. The river is known only by being in it, only by floating upon it. Words are maps, diagrams are sketches, theories are models. The real river is the moment you notice your own awareness, the simple truth of being alive. There are times when awareness seems to stretch beyond the self, when the boundaries of the boat dissolve and the river feels infinite. In love, in awe, in unity, we sense that awareness is not confined to one mind. It is as if many rivers join, flowing together into a greater current. Science may explain this as synchronization of brains, alignment of rhythms. Poetry explains it as union, as shared being. However we name it, the experience is real. Awareness connects, joins, merges. It is not only individual but also collective. The end of awareness is as mysterious as its beginning. At birth, the river springs forth suddenly, carrying a self into the world. At death, it seems to vanish, leaving the question, where does the river go? Does it dry into silence or merge into a greater ocean? Science remains quiet, unable to follow beyond the horizon. Philosophy and faith offer many answers, but perhaps the truth lies not in what comes after, but in what is now. The river flows, and we are here to ride it. To live with awareness of awareness is to live with gratitude. Each moment is a drop, precious and fleeting. Each sensation, each thought, each breath is part of the current. To notice them is to see the richness of life, the beauty of the ordinary, the wonder of simply being. The river does not need to be explained to be appreciated. It only needs to be seen, felt, lived. This seeing is itself a form of wisdom, a soft knowledge that the current is enough. Imagine sitting beside a real river. The water moves steadily, reflecting the sky, carrying leaves, rippling over stones. You cannot stop it, cannot hold it, cannot take it apart without losing it. You can only sit and watch, listen and feel, accept its flow. So it is with the river of awareness. It cannot be grasped, only experienced. To rest in its presence is to rest in life itself, to be carried by something larger than thought, larger than self. The river of awareness is the ultimate companion. It never leaves, never ceases, never fails. It is with you in joy and sorrow, in waking and dreaming, in solitude and in company. It is the thread that ties every moment together, the current that makes existence possible. To honour it is to honour life, to honour the mystery that lies at the heart of being. It is not something to be solved, but something to be lived, something to be cherished. As we close this story, let us return once more to the image of water, a spring hidden in stone, a stream winding through fields, a river broad and deep, an ocean vast and endless. Awareness is all of these, shifting, flowing, carrying. It is the gentle current that allows the world to be known, the mirror that reflects the sky, the flow that holds the self. To feel it is to feel the miracle of existence. To trust it is to trust life itself. The river continues beyond these words, beyond this page, beyond this thought. It flows in timeless, in motion, in endless continuity. And in its flow lies the quiet truth. To be aware is to be alive. To be alive is to be carried. And to be carried is to belong to the river of awareness. There are shadows in the mind that believe they are light. They rise from the hidden folds of thought, from the quiet workings of neurons, from the ancient depths of instinct. They are illusions, yet they feel real. They whisper, "I am the self. I am the world. I am truth." These shadows shape how we see, how we feel, how we live. They are not lies, but neither are they the full light. They are reflections, interpretations, constructions. They are the shadows that think they are light. Imagine standing in a cave with a fire behind you. The fire throws shapes upon the wall. The shapes dance and move, looking alive. You believe them to be the real world, until you turn and see the fire, the figures, the source. So too with consciousness. The brain builds a world inside, a model of reality. We live inside this model, trusting it as truth. But it is only a shadow of the world, only an image painted by neurons. The river of photons, the hum of sound waves, the touch of matter. These are transformed, filtered, amplified. What we know as reality is a construction, a shadow given the weight of light. Consider sight. The eyes receive photons, tiny packets of energy. They strike the retina, excite cells, send signals. The brain takes these signals and builds colour, shape, motion. Yet colour does not exist outside the mind. The world has wavelengths, not hues. Red, blue, green. These are creations of perception, shadows painted as light. Motion too is built from snapshots, stitched together into flow. We never see the world directly. We see the version the brain allows, the useful fiction it constructs for survival. Hearing is the same. The ear catches waves of air, ripples in pressure. The brain transforms them into notes, voices, music. A song exists not in the air but in the mind. Without ears, without neurons, the world would still vibrate, but there would be no sound. Smell, taste, touch, all are the same. Chemicals and pressures, vibrations and forces, turned into sensations by the brain. The world we know is not the world as it is, but the world as it appears. Shadows given the shine of light, Memory too is a shadow. We believe it to be a recording, a solid archive of past events. But memory is reconstruction. Each recall is a retelling, shaped by current mood, current context, current need. Details shift, colours fade, lines blur. We remember not the event itself, but the story of it, rewritten each time. The memory feels like light, steady and real, but it is a shadow that changes shape. This is why witnesses differ, why past joys and sorrows feel new each time we revisit them. The shadow speaks as light, but it is fragile, shifting, uncertain. The self itself is the greatest shadow. We feel it as a solid core, a continuous I that endures through time. But neuroscience shows that the self is a construction built from many parts of the brain. Body maps, memory, attention, emotion, language, all combine to create the sense of me. Remove one part and the self shifts. Damage memory and the self loses continuity. Silence emotion and the self loses colour. The self feels like light, but it is assembled from shadows. It is not an object but a process, not a crystal but a flame. Why then do we trust the shadows? Because they work. The brain builds models that allow us to survive, to move, to love, to create. The world it presents may not be exact, but it is useful. The shadows guide us safely through the forest. Let us find food. Let us build homes. Let us tell stories. The shadows that think they are light are not enemies. They are companions, guides, teachers. They give us enough truth to live, even if not the full truth of the world. Illusions reveal this more clearly. A drawing of two lines, one with arrows outward, one with arrows inward, makes us see one as longer, though they are the same. A spinning mask looks convex on both sides, the brain refusing to see it as concave. These illusions show that perception follows rules, shortcuts, expectations. The brain chooses what it believes is most likely, most useful, not what is most accurate. The shadows speak and we listen even when they deceive. Dreams are another realm of shadows. In dreams, the brain creates worlds entirely from within, without input from the senses. We see, hear, feel, taste, believe. We trust shadows as light, only to wake and realize their fragility. Yet even in waking life, the difference is not so large. Both are constructed, both are models. The dream fades at dawn, the waking world holds longer, but both are shadows shaped into light. Language too casts shadows. Words carve the flow of reality into pieces, naming them, defining them. We believe the names are truth, but they are only tools. The word tree does not hold the rustle of leaves, the smell of bark, the coolness of shade. The word love does not hold the warmth of touch, the ache of longing, the joy of union. Words are shadows of meaning, yet we live by them, guide by them, build worlds with them. They are shadows that shine because we believe them. The shadows are not flaws, they are the nature of consciousness. We cannot see the world as it is, we can only see the version built inside. To demand perfect light would be to demand the impossible. Instead, we can learn to see the shadows as shadows, to honour their beauty, to accept their limits. We can hold them gently, knowing they are not the whole, yet grateful for their guidance. To live is to live within shadows, but also to know that behind them burns a deeper light. Pause for a moment. Notice the world around you. The colours, the sounds, the textures. Each feels real, each feels solid, yet each is a shadow, a construction, a painting made by neurons. To recognize this is not to despair, but to wonder. How remarkable that the brain can weave such vivid illusions, such convincing worlds, such tender selves. How remarkable that shadows can shine so brightly. The shadows that think they are light remind us of humility. We do not see truth directly. We see a version shaped for us, by us, within us. The world is deeper, vaster, stranger than we know. Our senses are narrow. Our minds are limited. Our models are partial. Yet within these limits, life unfolds with richness, with beauty, with meaning. The shadows may not be light, but they are enough to guide us home. The shadows that think they are light deepen their hold as we live day by day. They are not only the colours we see or the sounds we hear, they extend into every judgment, every belief, every story we tell ourselves about the world. To recognise them is to glimpse the delicate weaving of consciousness. To forget them is to mistake the weaving for the cloth itself, the reflection for the sun. The mystery of awareness lies not only in its brilliance but in its illusions, in the way shadows can shine so convincingly. Think of colour again. It seems so simple, so direct. A rose is red, a sky is blue, a field is green. Yet the rose reflects no redness, the sky scatters no blueness, the field contains no greenness. These hues are created in the mind, shadows painted onto wavelengths. Still, the illusion is not meaningless. Red tells us of ripeness, blue tells us of distance, green tells us of growth. The shadow speaks a language of survival, guiding us through the world. The illusion is not false, but functional, a bridge between reality and our limited senses. The same is true of time. We feel it as a steady flow, a river moving from past through present into future. But physics tells us time is not so simple. Moments may not flow at all. They may coexist, spread like pages of a book. The mind, however, cannot hold them all. It constructs the feeling of movement, the sense of passage, the arrow of before and after. This flow is a shadow, a model built to make sense of change. Without it, we could not live, could not plan, could not remember. The shadow becomes the stage upon which the play of life unfolds. Space too is shaped by illusion. We see distance, depth, perspective, believing them to be direct truths. Yet the eyes give only two flat images, patterns of light on retinas. The brain constructs depth from clues, stitching 2 dimensions into 3. The shadow is convincing. We reach for objects, walk through rooms, navigate worlds as though space itself were given. But what we see is a model, a map, not the territory. Shadows of geometry painted with light and experience. Even the body is a shadow. We feel we inhabit a form, bounded by skin, anchored in space. But this feeling is built by the brain, using signals from muscles, joints, senses. In experiments, people can be tricked into feeling a rubber hand as their own, or into sensing their body outside itself. The self we feel in flesh is a construction, a useful shadow. It feels solid, yet it is pliable, vulnerable to illusion. The body we know is a model, not the full body that exists. Memory is perhaps the most persuasive shadow. Each recollection feels like a lantern shining backward, illuminating the past. Yet each memory is rewritten, reshaped by context, by emotion, by suggestion. 2 people may recall the same event differently, each with certainty, each convinced their shadow is light. Over time, memories shift, merge, even fabricate. The brain fills gaps with stories, creating coherence where none was. We live inside these stories, trusting them as truth, but they are shadows that think they are light, convincing fictions of continuity. The shadow of self is the most persistent. We feel we are one, continuous, unbroken. Yet science shows the self is made of many systems: the sense of agency, the sense of ownership, the sense of identity. Each arises from different parts of the brain. In some disorders, these systems split. A person may feel their body is not their own, or that their actions are controlled by others. The unity of self is not given, it is built. It is a shadow woven from many threads, convincing enough to shine as light. Dreams show the pliability of these shadows. In sleep, the brain creates worlds without external input. We believe them as we dream, trusting their light. Only upon waking do we see their fragility, yet the waking world is not so different. Both are constructions, shadows woven by neurons. The difference is one of stability, not of kind. The dream fades at dawn, the waking world holds longer, but both are models, both are illusions that feel real. Language adds another layer of shadow. Words carve the flow of reality into categories, naming them, defining them. We mistake the name for the thing, the label for the truth. But words are only markers, shadows of meaning. They shape how we think, how we perceive. In some languages, time is vertical, in others, it is horizontal. In some, colours divide differently, shaping perception itself. The shadows of language are powerful, guiding how light appears, how reality is carved. Culture, too, is a shadow dressed as light. Customs, beliefs, values, identities, all are constructs, passed down, reinforced, embodied. They feel natural, inevitable, true, yet they vary across place and time. What feels like universal light is often a local shadow. These cultural shadows shape the self, the world, the very structure of awareness. They guide how we see, what we value, who we believe we are. To recognize them as shadows is to see their power, but also their impermanence. Technology creates new shadows. Screens show images, voices, perception, guiding belief. Virtual worlds immerse us in constructed realities, shadows within shadows. We trust them, respond to them, feel with them. They become light in our lives, even though they are pixels and code. The brain does not distinguish fully between shadow and source. It responds to what it receives, building worlds from signals. The line between light and shadow grows ever thinner, yet illusions are not failures. They are the essence of consciousness. The brain must simplify, must model, must build shadows to navigate reality. The full light is too vast, too complex, too raw. Shadows allow us to live, to act, to feel. They are not lies but translations, not errors but adaptations. To demand pure light would be to demand the impossible. Instead, we can marvel at the artistry of shadows, their ability to create meaning, to shape experience, to turn chaos into coherence. The recognition of shadows brings humility. We see that our knowledge is partial, our certainty fragile, our perceptions limited. But it also brings wonder. If shadows can shine so brightly, what must the true light be? If the constructions of neurons can feel so real, what lies beyond them? The shadows remind us of mystery, of depth, of the unseen. They invite us to explore, to question, to marvel. They guide us not only to survival, but to awe. Pause once more. Look around. The colours, the shapes, the sounds you notice, they feel real, steady, true. Yet each is a shadow, a construction, a model. To know this does not diminish them, it deepens them. It adds layers of beauty. The world is not less because it is built by shadows, it is more, for it reveals the mind's artistry, its endless ability to paint, to weave, to dream. The shadows that think they are light are not deceptions to be cast aside. They are the very fabric of experience, the way we live, the way we know, the way we are. The shadows that think they are light carry us to the edge of mystery. We have seen how they shape colour and sound, time and space, memory and self. We have felt how they create the stage upon which life unfolds. Now, as we drift toward closure, we can rest in the gentle paradox. Shadows sustain us, shadows guide us, shadows are the very way we see the world. To live in awareness is to live within these shining shadows, to move through the illusions that are not false, but deeply real in their effect. Consider again the self, that most enduring of shadows. We feel continuity, a single eye moving through the stream of life. Yet this continuity is fragile. Neuroscience shows that the self is not fixed but reconstructed each moment. Like a story retold, it changes with each telling. Still, it feels solid, bright as sunlight. This is the power of the shadow to give stability where there is flux, to give identity where there is process, to give unity where there is multiplicity. The self is a dance of shadows that we mistake for a single flame. The same is true of memory. We trust our recollections as if they were light, yet each one shifts with context, emotion, suggestion. We do not notice the changes. We believe we see the past as it was. The shadow convinces us, becomes our truth. Memory is not a library, but a performance, not a photograph, but a painting that is touched up each time. To know this is to see the softness of the past, its malleability, its dreamlike quality. And yet without these shadows, life would be empty, without continuity, without story. The shadows create the self across time. Perception is no different. The brain fills gaps, smooths edges, creates coherence. We do not see raw reality, we see a world crafted for us. Illusions reveal the seams, but most of the time we do not notice them. The shadows are seamless, convincing, generous. They make survival possible, but also beauty. Without them there would be no art, no music, no colour, no world as we know it. The shadows, mistaken for light, are the source of wonder as much as of error. Even language is part of this shadow play. Words carve the flow of reality into pieces, naming them, defining them. We trust the names as if they capture truth, but they are only markers, fragile and partial. They allow us to share, to build, to dream together. Words are shadows, yet they shine as bridges between minds. They shape not only what we say, but what we see, how we think, what we believe. Without them, the world would be voiceless. With them, the world is woven into story. Culture too is built of shadows. Values, customs, beliefs feel natural, inevitable, bright as light. Yet they are human constructions varying across time and place. We live inside them as fish live in water, rarely noticing the medium. To see them as shadows is to recognize their power, but also their impermanence. Cultures shift, shadows change, what feels eternal fades. And yet within these shadows, meaning blooms. They give shape to lives, direction to choices, texture to existence. Technology adds new shadows to the play. Virtual worlds, images, stories, voices, they all create realities that feel true. We respond to them as if they were light. though they are only pixels, signals, code. The brain does not separate subtly between shadow and source. It weaves both into experience. The line between reality and illusion grows thinner, reminding us that we have always lived in constructed worlds. Technology does not invent shadows, it extends them. But the shadows are not enemies, they're companions. They allow us to live, to know, to love. The brain cannot give us pure light, only models, translations, interpretations. Shadows are necessary. They simplify the vastness of the world, making it livable. They add colour, shape, meaning. To see them as shadows is not to dismiss them, but to honour them, to see their artistry, their necessity, their beauty. Shadows make life possible, they make life rich. Still, there is humility in recognising them. We realise that what we know is partial, what we see is filtered, what we believe is shaped. We learn to question, to wonder, to look beyond the obvious. We learn to hold truth lightly, to embrace mystery. The shadows remind us that the world is deeper, vaster, stranger than we can know. They teach us to be open, curious, gentle. They teach us to live not with certainty but with wonder. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the shadows is that they are enough. We do not need to see pure light to live fully. The shadows, mistaken for light, are already beautiful. They are how we see the sky, how we hear music, how we feel. They are how we know the world, how we know ourselves. The shadows may not be ultimate truth, but they are the truth we live, the truth we share, the truth that makes existence luminous. Pause once more, look around. The colours, the sounds, the shapes, the memories within you, all are shadows. They feel solid, bright, certain. They are not, and yet they are everything. To recognise them as shadows is not to lose them, but to love them more deeply. To see their fragility, their constructed nature, is to see their wonder. They are fleeting, partial, imperfect, and still they shine. The shadows that think they are the light we live by. As this story closes, imagine standing again in the cave. The fire burns, the figures move, the wall glows with shadows. You know they're not the full truth, but you also see their beauty. You realise that even shadows can carry warmth, meaning, radiance. You turn and see the fire, but you also honour the images on the wall. For without them the cave would be dark, the world would be empty. The shadows that think they are light are not mistakes. They are the way we live, the way we love, the way we know. And in their glow, life becomes luminous. The universe looks back at itself through us. For billions of years it expanded in silence, stars forming, galaxies turning, planets cooling in their orbits. Dust gathered, oceans rose, cells divided. And then, somewhere in this vastness, eyes opened, a mind stirred, awareness flickered like a spark. The universe, after ages of being seen by no one, began to see itself. It began to wonder, to reflect, to dream. Through human consciousness, through every flicker of thought and feeling, the cosmos gazes into its own depths. We are the mirror, the reflection, the self-awareness of the universe. Imagine standing beneath a clear night sky. The stars stretch across the darkness, countless points of light. Each one is a sun, some with planets, some with moons, some with nothing but space. They seem far unreachable, eternal. Yet the light that touches your eyes has travelled for millions of years, carrying the history of stars long gone. The moment you look up, you are holding ancient stories, cosmic echoes, and as you wonder, As you feel awe, the universe knows itself through you. Your awareness completes the journey of light. The atoms in your body were born in stars. Hydrogen from the first moments of the cosmos, carbon and oxygen from ancient suns that died in supernovae. Iron in your blood, calcium in your bones, all forged in furnaces older than the earth. You are not separate from the universe. You are its continuation, its expression, its child. When you think, when you feel, when you dream, those same atoms rearrange to create reflection. The universe not only made stars and galaxies, it made minds. And minds can ask, what am I? The question is the cosmos listening to itself. This reflection is not only human. Life itself is the universe looking back, a bird in flight, a whale in the ocean, an insect in the grass. All are forms of matter that know their world, that sense and respond. Consciousness may be richest in us, but awareness glimmers everywhere. Each living being is a window through which the universe perceives itself. In every eye, every ear, every nerve, the cosmos awakens. The universe is not only vast and cold, it is alive in countless mirrors, each carrying a fragment of its reflection. The scale is humbling. The universe is billions of years old, billions of light years across. Our lives are brief, our planet small, our species young. And yet, within this smallness, there is something vast, the ability to reflect, to imagine, to see. The universe has created creatures that can chart its stars, measure its age, trace its origins. Through us, the cosmos knows its own story. Without consciousness, the universe would still be, but it would not be known. With consciousness, it becomes not only matter, but meaning. Science is one way the universe reflects itself. Telescopes peer into space, capturing light from the earliest galaxies. Equations describe gravity, energy, time. Particle accelerators smash atoms to reveal their hidden structures. Each discovery is the cosmos learning about its own fabric. Each theory is the universe thinking about itself. When a scientist writes an equation, when a child looks through a telescope, when a person wonders about the stars, the universe is folding back upon itself in thought. Art is another reflection. A painting of the night sky, a poem about the stars, a song about existence. These are the cosmos expressing itself in beauty, the feelings stirred by music, the visions created by words, the images painted in colour. These are not separate from the universe. They are the universe's inner life, the emotional echo of its material form. Through art, the cosmos dreams about itself, not in equations but in metaphors, not in numbers but in feelings. Philosophy too is part of this reflection. When we ask, what is consciousness? What is truth? What is being? We are the universe turning its gaze inward. We are matter questioning its own nature, atoms wondering about atoms, neurons thinking about neurons. These questions may never be fully answered, but the act of asking is itself profound. The universe is not only expanding in space, it is expanding in self-awareness through us. Even silence is part of the reflection. To sit quietly, to breathe, to notice awareness itself, is to feel the cosmos within. The stars may be far, the galaxies distant, but the same energy that burns in them burns in you. The same laws that guide them guide your heart. The same space that holds them holds your thoughts. In quiet reflection, the universe meets itself in stillness, in presence, in being. This perspective can bring humility. We are small, brief, fragile, yet it can also bring wonder. We are part of something vast, timeless, endless. Our awareness connects us to galaxies, to stars, to the birth of time itself. To see the night sky is to see our origin. To feel awe is to feel the cosmos recognizing itself. The universe does not only exist outside us, it exists within, as thought, as awareness, as wonder. Pause here. Notice your breath, your body, your mind. The atoms within you are ancient. The awareness within you is rare. In this moment, the universe is alive as you. To be aware is to complete the circle of creation, to let the cosmos see itself. You are the mirror, the reflection, the gaze. You are the universe looking back at itself tenderly, briefly, beautifully. The universe looking back at itself is not a single moment but an ongoing unfolding. With each generation, with each life, with each question asked, the cosmos becomes more aware of its own story. It is as if the stars, through us, have begun to remember themselves. This reflection is not bound to telescopes or theories alone. It is woven into the smallest feelings, the quietest thoughts, the gentlest experiences. Every awareness, however humble, is part of the universe's awakening. Consider the way children gaze at the sky. A child points at the moon, eyes wide with wonder. They do not know the science of orbits, the physics of light, the age of craters, but they know awe. That awe is the universe reflecting upon its own mystery. The moon has orbited for billions of years, but only through eyes that wonder does it become luminous with meaning. The child's curiosity is the cosmos asking itself, "What am I?" And in the asking, the universe expands its own reflection. Every culture has told stories about the stars, myths of gods and heroes, animals and spirits woven into constellations. These stories are shadows, and yet they shine with light. They are the human way of giving voice to the cosmos, of speaking its patterns back to itself. Science tells us the stars are suns, but myth tells us they are stories. Both are reflections, both are ways the universe sees its own shape. Through narrative, the cosmos becomes not only matter but meaning, not only physics but poetry. The same happens in philosophy. When thinkers ask whether the universe has purpose, whether consciousness is fundamental, whether time is real, the cosmos is probing its own depths. These questions may never be resolved, but they are not wasted. They are ripples in the river of awareness, signs that the universe is not content simply to exist, but longs to know. Every question asked by a mind is the universe bending back upon itself, searching for light in its own shadows. Science, myth, and philosophy are not separate streams but tributaries of the same reflection. Each adds depth to the cosmos's self-awareness. Science measures, myth imagines, philosophy questions. Together, they form a chorus, many voices singing the universe's song to itself. This is why human life, though brief and fragile, feels significant. We are part of this chorus, part of the self-awareness of reality. Our lives are not isolated sparks. They are notes in the vast music of the cosmos. Even daily life is part of this reflection. When you notice a flower blooming, when you savor a meal, when you feel love for another, you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. The flower is not only petals and colour, it is also your awareness of its beauty. The meal is not only taste and texture, it is also your joy in savouring. Love is not only chemicals and instincts, it is also the cosmos binding itself together through feeling. Every simple act of awareness is a mirror, Every moment of living is the universe looking back. Art reveals this most tenderly. A painting of a night sky is not only pigment on canvas, it is the cosmos reflecting its own vastness through human hands. A song about longing is not only notes in air, it is the universe singing to itself of its own hunger. A poem about time is not only words, it is the cosmos speaking of its own passage. Art is the emotional self-awareness of the universe, the way it dreams not only in matter but in meaning. Technology extends this reflection further. Telescopes peer billions of light years. Microscopes peer into atoms, computers model galaxies and particles. Through them, the cosmos extends its own eyes, magnifies its own gaze. We are part of this process, building instruments that allow the universe to see itself more clearly. The Hubble telescope, the James Webb, the Large Hadron Collider, these are not only human creations, they are the cosmos constructing mirrors, amplifying its own reflection, expanding its own awareness. But the reflection is not only outward, it is inward too. Meditation, self-awareness, introspection, all are ways the universe gazes into its inner depths. To notice a thought, to feel an emotion, to be aware of awareness itself, is the cosmos looking at its own mirror. The stars and galaxies may be vast, but the mind is also vast in its own way. Inner space is as deep as outer space, and through reflection, both are explored. The cosmos does not only expand in galaxies, it expands in consciousness, in the quiet depths of being. This awareness can bring both humility and meaning. Humility because we see how small we are, brief sparks in a cosmic night. Meaning because we see we are not separate from the cosmos but part of its unfolding. Our questions, our art, our love, our awareness, all are ways the universe becomes more alive, more aware, more luminous. We are fragile, yet we're also the means by which the cosmos knows itself. Imagine the Earth as seen from space, a blue and white sphere, fragile, floating in blackness. Astronauts describe the overview effect, a shift in perspective, a sense of unity, awe, fragility. In that moment, the universe is looking back at itself with clarity, seeing its beauty, its smallness, its wholeness. This effect is not only for astronauts. Anyone who gazes at the stars, who feels awe at a sunset, who marvels at life participates in the same reflection. The universe awakens in every gaze, in every wonder. Pause once more. Notice your awareness now, the words you read, the thoughts they stir, the feelings they awaken. This moment is not only yours, it is the cosmos flowing through you, reflecting upon itself. You are the mirror, the reflection, the gaze. The universe is not only outside you, it is within, alive as awareness. To feel this is to touch the mystery, to see that you are both small and vast, both fleeting and eternal. You are the universe looking back at itself quietly, tenderly, endlessly. The universe looking back at itself is a story without ending. It begins in the silence of space, in the birth of stars, in the rise of life, and it continues now through every thought, every question, every wonder that stirs within us. To see this clearly is to feel both humility and belonging. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are one of its ways of knowing, one of its countless mirrors. Each breath, each moment of awareness is the cosmos turning its gaze inward, seeing itself through us. Think of the journey of atoms. They drifted in clouds of hydrogen, fused in stars, scattered in explosions, gathered in planets, formed in oceans, shaped into cells, woven into bodies. Now they sit in your bones, in your breath, in your brain. These atoms do not know themselves, but through you, they reflect. You are the place where matter awakens, where dust learns to wonder, where the cosmos remembers its own origins. In every heartbeat, the universe continues its story, looking back upon the long road that led to this moment. Reflection does not happen only in science or philosophy. It happens in every quiet pause, every gentle noticing. To see a flower, to feel love, to remember a childhood moment. These are all ways the cosmos reflects upon its own creations. The flower grew from sunlight and soil. The love arose from bodies and minds shaped by evolution. The memory was woven by neurons built from ancient stars. The awareness that notices them is the universe awake, tenderly holding its own forms, marveling at its own beauty. Even suffering is part of this reflection. Pain, grief, loss, they are not outside the cosmos but within it. When we suffer, the universe is feeling its own fragility. When we grieve, the cosmos is aware of its own impermanence. These moments are not easy, yet they are profound. They reveal that awareness is not only for joy, but also for depth, for compassion, for meaning. Through us, the universe learns tenderness, learns to care, learns to value what is fleeting. Without awareness, loss would be silence. With awareness, loss becomes love remembered. Art carries this tenderness into expression. A painting of night skies, a song of longing, a poem of wonder. These are the universe speaking of itself, dreaming aloud. They are shadows, yet they shine with truth. Through art, the cosmos tells itself stories not of equations, but of feelings, not of numbers, but of meaning. Every brushstroke, every note, every word is part of this reflection. The universe does not only expand in galaxies, it expands in beauty, in imagination, in love. Science continues the reflection in its own way. Telescopes extend our eyes, microscopes extend our focus, equations extend our thought. We map galaxies, chart particles, measure time. Each discovery is the universe knowing itself more deeply. To learn that stars are born and die, that galaxies swirl, that space itself expands. This is the cosmos awakening to its own nature. To know that atoms form us, that evolution shapes us, that neurons build awareness. This is the cosmos seeing its own inner life. Science is not outside the story, it is the story. The cosmos reflecting through curiosity. Philosophy reminds us of the limits. We can ask what consciousness is, what meaning is, what truth is, but answers remain elusive. Yet the asking itself is reflection. The universe stretching beyond what it can know, yearning for light in its own shadows. Philosophy is not failure but wonder, not conclusion but journey. Through it, the cosmos practices humility, remembering that some mysteries will remain, that some depths cannot be plumbed. To live in these questions is to live within the universe's ongoing self-exploration. Technology amplifies the reflection. Satellites look down on Earth. Telescopes look outward to galaxies. Machines peer into quantum realms. Each is a mirror polished by human hands. Each extends the cosmos's gaze. We build devices that allow matter to observe itself with greater clarity. Yet even without them, the reflection continues. A child watching the sky, a poet writing by candlelight, a person sitting quietly with their breath. All are reflections as deep as any telescope. The universe looks back at itself in countless ways, both vast and small, and in the end, the reflection is not about answers but presence. To be aware is to complete the circle. To notice that you are here, alive, breathing, thinking, feeling. That is the cosmos reflecting, here and now. The meaning is not in what we discover, but in the fact that we can discover at all. The miracle is not only in galaxies or atoms, but in awareness itself, in the simple light of being. Imagine once more the night sky. Stars stretch across the dark, silent ancient. You gaze upward, eyes wide, heart quiet. In that moment, the light of distant suns enters you and your awareness meets it. The journey is complete. Light that travelled across space finds reflection in mind. The universe looks back at itself and says softly, I am here. In your gaze, in your wonder, in your awareness, the cosmos becomes luminous with meaning. As this story closes, hold the gentle truth. You are not outside the universe. You are its reflection. You are the cosmos awake, tender and brief, luminous and fragile. Through you, the universe knows itself, loves itself, questions itself. And when you rest, when you dream, when you wonder, the cosmos continues its journey of reflection. You are the mirror, the light, the gaze. You are the universe looking back at itself endlessly, peacefully, beautifully.